So, welcome back. This is the second part of the drivers' grades for F1 for this 2019 F1 season on the Formula One Grid Talk podcast, brought to you by F1 Chronicle. Did the bottom 10 drivers in the driver standings last time. This time, we're going over the top 10, starting with Sergio Perez, Jack, and again, another driver who's been a season or two halves. Really, the second half of the season, absolutely imperious in terms of his consistency.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely proved why he deserves to be leading that team. Yeah, it's another one who's just done what they need to do. Force India's Racing Point, car has not been as good as it has been in the past, certainly. But it does seem to stay quite static in the development race and sort of kept their position better than some. Then yeah, he's scored. He's certainly, like you say, in the second half of that season, he's scored not a considerable amount of points. Very, very strong season.
Yeah, it's been a big rise in the second half of the season for him, and absolutely pasted Lance Stroll in terms of the driver's standings. Sam, despite Stroll's amazing result in Germany, I mean, Perez has just been the king of consistency, really.
Yeah, I think from Baku until I can't remember which race it was. He didn't
Hungary,
score.
I think you know what you're trying to say. No points.
Yeah, he didn't score a single point, which very, very surprising actually, considering how consistent he has been over the last few years. It's like whenever you see Perez just pop up in seventh, you're just not surprised because that's just what Sergio Perez does. He always drive. Yeah, the second half of the season, he's just been amazing, hasn't he? Really, he's probably been. If we were doing it like half the season, the second half of the season, he'd probably be my driver of the season. To be honest, of the second half of the season, I think he's been absolutely amazing.
He's been brilliant in the second half of the season, hasn't he? I mean, he's been battling it out with the Renaults and the McLarens, Louis, and he really shouldn't have been because I don't think that Racing Point has the kind of pace that they do. But Perez can just eke more out on the tyres. He's a master of those Pirelli tyres.
Yeah, he's really shown how good he is with that car, how he is with those tyres. I think he shouldn't have scored half the points that he got because that Racing Point just really wasn't, meant to be there. But, he's been absolutely incredible. And, I don't think you can take much away from him this season. Yeah, he had a bit of a dry spell, but he then really came back, hit hard, and then just he's really impressed me.
Yeah, he's really impressed me too. I'm tempted to give him an A. I really am. But I think just because of that long pointless streak he had, maybe because of the car or whatever, but I think I'll probably give him a B. Bordering on an A, but I'll give him a B. Jack, what are you saying for the big enchilada himself, Sergio Perez?
I'd probably go A-. That drive, I would say he's more often than not done what he can with the car. It's just that dry spell at the start of the season that probably hurt him more than anything.
Sam?
Yeah, A-. Yeah, I think, second half of the season's just been incredible, isn't it? Obviously, in terms of his teammate, he's completely trounced him. Yeah, I go with A-. Just, as you said, if he'd have done the whole season as good as the second half, he would have got easily A. One of the drivers of the season still, though, I think. One of the drivers of the season has to be up there.
Louis?
I would go a B, I think. Same reason as you, that dry spell stops me from giving him an A. But second half of the season, don't get me wrong, he's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Daniel Ricciardo, 9th place, only just ahead of Sergio Perez, 2 points in it. A long, long way off the Red Bull drivers and Carlos Sainz in the points. It's been nowhere near as good of a year as Ricciardo would have hoped for, Renault, Jack, but you have to blame the car a little bit for that as well because the car's not been there. And at the end of the day, Ricciardo has beat his teammate.
Certainly has, yeah. I think because he's probably struggled with the brakes more than anything. He's struggled to adapt his driving style to that Renault. I think I saw it mentioned in, was it Monza perhaps? Not too sure, but because that back at Red Bull, he made those famous moves by just having unwavering confidence in the brake. And whatever it is with this car that means he can't do that, it's just sort of hampered him a bit. We all know he's a fantastic driver, but it does seem to have been a bit dulled. Like that edge to him has been dulled slightly by some performances. He just doesn't progress. He hasn't been able to progress up the field like he has been. Just overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because, you know, he's a good driver. We know he's a great driver, but I think you are right, Jack. I think he's been slightly dulled, slightly neutered just by this Renault car just not really being there and not having as good of a teammate as before, because obviously he had Verstappen before, and, you know, that was a real challenge for him. But Hülkenberg, he's beat him all ends up, to be fair, in terms of the points, Sam. It's not been a bad year for Ricciardo, but nowhere near as good as what he would have hoped for.
Yeah, it's been a sort of anti-climax, isn't it, really? Renault, before the season, were talking in big, oh yeah, we're going to be challenging Red Bull, challenging for podiums this year. And their car has just been very inconsistent. So, like, on the power tracks, they've done quite well. Italy, Canada, spring to mind, where they've had a very good car. And Ricciardo, more often than not, has finished on top of those battles. Very unlucky in Australia to lose his front wing just as soon as the season.
Oh, yeah, that was so much.
Bahrain.
Oh, yeah, them first two races were hard for Renault.
Yeah, I think that brought Renault back down to earth with a bang. In general, I think, Ricciardo. Yeah, it's just been a bit odd. Yeah, anticlimactic, I'd say.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, where do you stand on him, Louis? I mean, it's been disappointing for him, obviously, but he has beat his teammate. You can say that, but he probably has to perform a bit better next year against Ocon, because Ocon's no slouch. We know this.
Yeah, it wasn't classic Daniel Ricciardo we saw this season. I think he didn't give as much as we've seen previous seasons with Red Bull. You know, I think we all knew that we'd expect a bit of a drop. You know, going from Red Bull to Renault, naturally there's going to be a bit of a drop in where he's going to finish. But yeah, it's just I just feel like we haven't seen the same Daniel Ricciardo, and it's a shame, because I think if we still saw that same performances that he had in 2018, well, maybe not 2018 because he didn't finish half the races, but if he'd, you know, that same sort of drive, that same sort of passion, you know, sort of, I think we just haven't really seen the sort of the daringness of him this year.
Yeah.
I think he's just waiting around for. I think the move to Renault was just a kind of a move to see what happens in 2021, see if Renault sort their act out and get themselves to the top of the field like they want to do. So if 2021 rolls around and Renault are the best team on the grid, then he's going to look like a genius, isn't he?
Yeah,
it could happen. It happened with Hamilton and Mercedes. You never know. It could happen. It
was just a bit of a transitional year, I feel.
I hope for his sake it is. Yeah, I think next year might be another transitional year as well, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give him a B. I think he's been above average. He's beat Hülkenberg. He's not been as good as he has been in the past, but he's still above average in terms of the quality of drives on this grid. Jack, what would you rate the Honey Badger as?
Yeah, I would go B. It's like I say, a lot more of his lower class results seem to have been a car letting him down, or external factors that were kind of out of his control. But at the same time, I don't think I could give him anything higher. Not until he sort of learns how to deal with that Renault car properly.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Sam?
Yeah, I think it's going to be another fence rating.
No, we can't keep putting these fences up. We've only got one garden. Come on.
Yeah, I think. I think a B. I don't think you can score him any higher than a B. He's not set the world alight, but then he's not been bad either. So I think it's either a B or a C. And I think a B is a fair score.
Yeah, Louis.
You were doing plus and minus, so I'm going to go C plus.
I'll change mine to that. I think.
You can't change. Just locked it now. It's all right. We'll update the record. It's fine. Well, the record shows Sam changes his rating to C plus. So yeah, that's fair enough.
C plus.
Yeah, I said C plus.
All right.
So anyway, now my personal rookie of the year, Alexander Albon, 8th in the Drivers' Championship, just behind Gasly and Sainz. I don't think that does him much justice, though, because a bit like Lando Norris, to be fair, as well. Jack, he's been unlucky. I mean, he's been, especially in Brazil, he so should have got his first podium there.
I'm still thinking about that one. Yeah, no, I would agree. For me, that's why I would put him higher than Norris. He's my rookie of the year as well. Just in the fact that he was no pushover against Kvyat. He was proven to be, even like taking the fact that Sam brought up about Helmut Marko not going back on the decision and him getting the Red Bull seat over Kvyat. Like, he's stepped up and he's delivered. He's delivered far in excess of what would be expected of him, given what Gasly was doing. And yeah, he's just sort of shown that he belongs there. So I'm really looking forward to him getting a full season in a front-running car, actually.
Yeah, me too. It'll be very exciting to see him in that Red Bull for the whole year. Sam, where do you stand on Albon? Because, I think he did brilliant in the Toro Rosso, and also changing teams halfway through the year is not easy. It is a difficult thing to do, especially when your teammate's Max Verstappen.
Yeah, no, he's been excellent, hasn't he? China, pit lane point. He this time, well, he thought he was going to be going to Formula E. Didn't know he was going to Formula One until very late. Didn't get in the car, Toro Rosso, until pretty much first testing.
Yeah,
he's adapted very well. Yeah, I was pretty gutted when Hamilton hit him, because on the Brazil preview, that was my wild card prediction that Albon would get his first podium. So I was like, oh yes, this is going to happen, and then Hamilton did what he did. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do next year as a full season. He needs to get close to Verstappen in terms of his qualifying performance, I feel. There's room for improvement. That's what I think he needs to do.
Yeah, but he's only had half a season in the car.
Exactly. Against Verstappen as well. Verstappen is
he's
what he is.
He's lightning quick. Yeah, he's very quick. I mean, that's the thing as well, Louis. It's hard to believe. You don't feel like it because he's in a Red Bull, but it's his first season in F1. I think he's done an incredible job. He really has done.
Yeah, he's done really well. It must be incredibly nerve-wracking. You're halfway through your first season Formula One, and then you get the call from Helmut Marko to go, yeah, do you want to go to the big team? And then is amazing. I mean, people were surprised when Charles Leclerc got the call up to Ferrari, and it was a huge shock to see Albon. But Gasly wasn't performing, so something. Well, I don't know if it had to be done, but something was done, and I think we saw from Albon what Red Bull were missing from Gasly. It was kind of that wanting us to go forward to do well. I think if you do compare Albon's and Gasly's points from their races at Red Bull, I think Albon came out on top. So it's a very good move from Red Bull, and I think a brilliant drive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the drives he had as well were fantastic because, he had all them engine penalties in places like Japan, and he drove through something that Gasly really, really struggled with in that Red Bull. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to give him an A. I'm going to give Albon an A. I think he did amazing in Toro Rosso, and he adapted very well to do a very good job in the Red Bull as well. It'd be very interesting to see him next year as well in the Red Bull for the whole season, a full season against Verstappen. Let's hope he does well with that. I wish him best with that. Jack, what do you think about Albon? What grade are you giving him?
I'll give him an A-. He's still got a little bit of racecrafting to learn. I'm not too sure, was it this year or last year when he got squashed up in the wall against Canada?
Definitely would have been this year because he went in F1 last year.
Oh, yeah.
That was Hartley last year.
That was Brendan Hartley.
It was Hartley.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that back.
Lance Stroll ran him into the wall.
That's the one. Yeah, I'd still stick with my grade though. It just obviously we know we've got a rough idea of where Verstappen's going to wind up. So yeah, he's just got to learn how to deal with Verstappen, and I reckon that Red Bull team could be untouchable.
Sam, is it going to be another A?
It's a difficult one. Yeah, I'd say an A. Definitely. I think some of his drives, Red Bull, he's done what Gasly didn't do, and that's get through the midfield without hiccuping along the way. Didn't get lapped by Verstappen in Austria. that was poor.
Don't worry, we'll get on to that.
We'll come on to Gasly, but
yeah.
I think Albon, I'd say A. But yeah, he's got to next year. He's just got to get close to Verstappen if he can.
Louis?
I'm going to give him an A. I think he did do a brilliant job this year. I mean, circumstances do definitely apply, but you have to. We saw from Gasly that he didn't do the job in that Red Bull. I would say Alex has done the job that he needed to this year in the Red Bull, but next year he's definitely got to step it up.
Yeah, that's all fair enough. Now, a guy that if you asked me halfway through the year what grade I would give him, I would have given him an F because he literally failed. He got sacked by Red Bull halfway through the year. But in the second half of the year, Jack, Pierre Gasly has done a fine job in that Toro Rosso.
He's hit his stride, hasn't he? He just seems so much more comfortable with the pressure of such a massive team on him. That does happen sometimes. I suppose obviously it can't last, but especially in a team like Toro Rosso. But for now, yeah, he's doing what we're doing, and I suspect he'll be out there. He's just nice and consistent when he can be. It's just such a shame that he couldn't make it work in Red Bull because if this is anything to go by, he fully deserved it, and just couldn't live up to expectations.
Yeah, I mean, some of the performances he had in that Red Bull time, I mean, it's easy to forget given how good he's been. He didn't get a podium in the Red Bull, but he managed to get a podium in the Toro Rosso. I mean, that just shows you how good he's been in the Toro Rosso and how bad he was in the Red Bull. I mean, like you said, Austria, he got lapped by Verstappen, and a few other races he got by him too. Just frankly embarrassing.
Yeah, he was. I think there's only maybe. I think Baku, he was unlucky to retire because his car failed. Silverstone, he actually performed quite well. That was like one of the only races in his kind of time Red Bull where he had a good race. But yeah, second half of the season's been very good. I think this Toro Rosso suits his driving style a lot more. Looks as though the weight's like kind of lifted off his shoulders. And also, he's had to deal with the death of his good friend Antoine Hubert.
Yeah, of course.
Which can't have been easy to focus on racing when a friend that close to you has died doing what you love. So it's difficult. So yeah, second half season, he's been amazing. And I was so happy to see him get the second in Brazil and the amazing team radio message when he crossed the line.
Yeah, I think I'd say he was fairly happy about that one.
Yeah.
Oh man, that must have been an unbelievable relief. It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, after he got sacked by Red Bull, like you mentioned, Hubert tragically passing away, it must have been a real low point for the guy. That's going to get everybody down. And to come back from that, Louis, I think is very, very commendable. And the guy's a real talent. I can honestly see him moving on to a team like Renault or McLaren or someone like that potentially in the future if there's an opening. I mean, the guy's clearly talented.
Yeah, he is. He is a very talented driver. We all saw it last season. We were expecting to see it this season, and we didn't get that until the second half of the season. There's very little that I can add that's already been said, really, because it's been it's just very much a season of two halves for Gasly this year. I don't think he'll ever find himself back in that Red Bull, if I'm being completely honest. I think, he would have to go to a Renault, McLaren. I don't think Ferrari or Mercedes would take him on, personally, I think. But, if he can continue to form at the Toro Rosso, we could see him, move up, but not to that Red Bull.
Yeah. So I think Red Bull Gasly, like I said, he would have got an F for me. Toro Rosso Gasly would have got an A, maybe a B. So I'm going to average it out. I'm going to give him a C. I'm going to go back, plonk myself back on the fence. I'm going to give him a C overall for the year. Obviously, momentum is definitely in his favour. So, Jack, how do you rate Gasly? What rating do you give him?
Like I say, it's a tough one to call. I've actually been jotting down the scores. Like, do I rate him equal or to Ricciardo? I think I do. So, sure. I'm going to go B-, I think.
Fair enough. Sam?
Yeah, this is a very kind of hard
it's like two different drivers, isn't it? You look at the result.
Yeah. Yeah, like Gasly, we got a U in my opinion. I think if we're going down to U for the first part of the first Red Bull Gasly,
unclassified, failed to
yeah, yeah, out of bounds. But yeah, Toro Rosso's just been like the other end of the spectrum, hasn't it? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. C plus. So
yeah, it's middle of the park when you average it out, isn't it, Louis? It's going to be around C, D, B, somewhere in that middle range overall.
Yeah, I'd give him a C. Yeah, really poor first half, but an amazing second half. So yeah, rules of averages make it a C.
Before we move on, what are Toro Rosso going to be called next season?
AlphaTauri.
New name.
AlphaTauri.
So there's going to be Alfa Romeo. There's going to be an Alfa Romeo and an AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I love it, and yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they are changing their name next year. It sounds very, very Italian. I like it, to be fair.
Crofty's good. Crofty's going to love that, isn't he?
So if you me, you still call Alfa Romeo Sauber, so...
Yeah.
You can't even call Alfa Romeo Alpha now. Alfa Romeo.
Oh, man, it's going to be confusing. It's got commentator's nightmare, in the words of Murray Walker. So yeah, now the guy did definitely not have a nightmare this season. Unbelievable season. Arguably the driver of the season. We will get onto that right at the end. Our picks after that. But Carlos Sainz, best of the rest in the McLaren, emulating Fernando Alonso, doing better than Fernando Alonso ever did in that McLaren since his return. Anyway, obviously he did better back in the day. That's a long time ago. But yeah, unbelievable by Sainz, Jack, and a real candidate for driver of the season as a whole.
Absolutely, he's stepped up leading that team so well. I think it's exactly what McLaren needed, and the way that chemistry he has with Lando Norris, and the way he sort of helped guide him and sort of shape him, it's just been phenomenal. Like all the way through, he's had that McLaren where it needs to be, right the way through to Abu Dhabi, getting that final point that he needed to get to get where he is. Yeah, it's been brilliant seeing a rejuvenated McLaren, thanks to not insignificantly Sainz.
Yeah, would you go along with that? So I mean, Sainz is a very strong choice for driver of the year this year. He's been brilliant. I mean, that car just suits him down to a T.
Unbelievable. The smooth operator, chilling, absolute legend.
Operator.
To be honest, yeah, it's like Lando Norris. Whenever you say Carlos Sainz, the smile just comes to his face. Just thinking about the guy, honestly, he's been absolutely amazing, hasn't he? It's difficult to know what to say because other than the fact he's been best of the rest by a mile. He's won the Formula 1.5 championship.
Yeah,
he probably had that wrapped up ages ago. He's pretty much like breathed new life into McLaren. And Sainz as well. People said he had a bad 2018, which I kind of didn't agree with because he was on loan at Renault. He didn't really know what his future was, and I think he performed all right last season. But yeah, this season he's entered a new stratosphere. Really, it's been amazing.
Yeah, and his first year as a team leader as well, and he's properly stepped up to it. And he's very young as well. I think he's on about 24. I'd guess maybe 23. He's got a very, very bright future ahead of him. And if he keeps up these performances, Louis, there'll be a lot more podiums coming his way. I mean, the first podium for McLaren in over 5 years he got in Brazil. Incredible. Absolutely
amazing. So happy. Just Carlos has just been. He's the driver that we wanted when Fernando Alonso. What he's done at McLaren this year is what we wanted to see from Fernando Alonso, but we didn't get. And now with a better car, a better lineup, drivers that work collectively, and a whole new team spirit around McLaren. Everyone just thought, it's just the Alonso. It should just be called like McLaren Alonso because Alonso's, doing it seems to be running half the show. But I love Fernando, like always have. He's been my F1 idol, but as soon as he got dumped out of McLaren, it's just been a weird sense of relief around the team. Yeah, and I do agree with Sam. Even though how much I do love Fernando, I don't want him back in Formula One personally. God forbid at McLaren, because I think it would completely ruin everything that's been going so well so far.
Yeah, Alonso, unbelievable driver, but as a personality in the team, very bad, very bad. So yeah, Carlos Sainz for me, not even a question about it. Brilliant. He couldn't have done any more. He beat Gasly and Albon despite not having a Red Bull for half the year. And instrumental in getting McLaren's 4th place in the Constructors' Championship. Jack?
Absolutely, it has to be. I can't see how it could be anything else.
Yeah. Sam?
A star if we're doing A stars. A star easily.
All right, yeah, fine. He's getting to Cambridge. He's getting an A star. Go on, Louis.
I was about to ask, are we doing A stars? Because that's
we can do them. Yeah, I suppose. There's nobody I don't think we said so far would have given an A star. So yeah, give Carlos Sainz an A star. I'll give him. I'll grade it.
And also, like the first 2 races, the first few races, he was very unlucky.
Yeah.
Australia broke down. Verstappen torpedoed him in Bahrain.
Yeah, he got torpedoed by the torpedo in China.
Yeah, in China. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and still finished comfortably best of the rest and 6th. That last move in Abu Dhabi was very good. Just send up the inside of Hulkenberg. Committed. Brilliant to see. Yeah, A star.
Fair enough. I think A stars across the board, isn't it? Really, with him, he's probably driver of the year. I'd say it's got to be up there. There are a few of us that we will get onto that definitely with him, but I think he's the first one we've talked about that is a real candidate for it. So yeah, a guy definitely won't be winning driver of the year. Sebastian Vettel, 5th place. A guy, in a real lull at the moment. He looked absolutely just limp in Abu Dhabi. I think I just didn't really care, to be honest. And for a lot of this season, Jack has been making a lot of mistakes especially in the second half of the season as well. In a car that probably fastest on the grid, but he only got 1 win this year. Isn't that 1 win in? Yeah, the one win in like a whole year almost. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, arguably it should be 2, depending on what side of the fence you're on for Canada.
Oh yeah, he was unlucky there. To be fair, yeah.
But I mean, I was going to draw on at the start of the season, Mercedes notwithstanding, he was actually pretty strong. He would have been leading pretty comfortably, maybe a third of the way in.
That's true, yeah.
If Mercedes were not involved, but yeah, he has had quite a tough season. Like I say, he's had some mistakes. I don't think he's enjoyed having Leclerc as a teammate at all, because he has been pushed very, very hard indeed. We are seeing echoes of Red Bull and Verstappen. So, yeah, it's like I say, certainly not driver of the year for me. He needs to sort of get on top of this, because we know that Vettel can be imperious.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a top car when he was on his winning streak, but you don't do that for nothing. So, you need the old Vettel back, really.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like Jack was saying, Sam, he's got beaten by Leclerc in the Drivers' Championship. Vettel's won more championships than Leclerc's had seasons in F1. It shouldn't be like that. And he never really looked like he was going to beat Leclerc, really, apart from the very start of the season.
Yeah, it's been quite bad. It's quite sad to see as well, because I think over the last few years he's certainly become more of a likeable personality.
Yeah.
At Red Bull, he was quite dislikable. He was quite cocky about everything, wasn't he? Always questioning why he wasn't winning. But over the last few years, he's become very media friendly. He comes out of quite a few funny things a lot of the times. And then obviously, congratulations to him for his 3rd child. And I've just got to wonder how long he wants to do it. Really, he's got 3 children. Doesn't he want to just go home and be with them? He's got set for life money-wise, isn't he? So I think if next year is the same as this year's been, I think he may well retire at the end of next year.
Absolutely agree.
It has been said, yeah. Some people have been saying he might even retire now, but
nah,
I don't see that.
His contract out.
I mean, he's been rubbishing there. It's like, oh, am I? You know more than me, clearly.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'd go along with that, Sam. Though I think if next year he gets beaten by Leclerc, I think he might well retire. I mean, what do you think, Louis? Arguably, he's lost the passion a little bit as well. I mean, he's seen Leclerc doing pretty well with that Ferrari overall, and only his second season. It must be very disheartening for him.
Yeah, he did look very deflated sort of back end of this season. Yeah, and understandably, you've gone from a very sort of obedient, I don't know, sort of teammate, Kimi, just passive, to now a teammate that isn't afraid of throwing up the inside or going literally wheel to wheel with you. So yeah, it must be difficult. But I think in a way, I think he was caught napping. The first sort of start of the season, he was definitely the number one at Ferrari. And then Charles just kind of came out of nowhere and just started winning all these races, getting all these pole positions. You're just like, wow. And I don't think he had an answer for him sort of within the season. So next year, he's got to either get his head down and make sure that he's consistently beating Leclerc. Otherwise, I think it could be the end of him in the sport.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if he's beating Leclerc consistently, because I think Leclerc is a future world champion as well. He's got incredible talent, that kid. He really does. But yeah, Vettel. I mean, I was tempted to give him a D, but I'm going to go C. I mean, he's been average. If he's been the Kimi Räikkönen this season, he's just been getting decent results most of the time, but not spectacular. I mean, he got that win in Singapore, but he's unbelievable in Singapore. But just one win in that car, it's not good enough, really. It's really not, especially when someone experiences him. Jack, how do you rate Vettel? What grade are you giving him?
I was going to give him a C as well. Like you say, like if the races where he's managed to get the pole and then control it, he's still got that skill. He won't lose that. And both those, if you say both, if you're including Canada, they would have been controlling from the front, which he's almost second to none to, maybe to Hamilton. But he has been quite heavily shown up, and he really, really needs to get his elbows out if he wants to go in on an equal footing.
Sam, what are you saying?
It's a hard one.
He's only 24 points behind Leclerc over the whole season. Leclerc's unbelievable, yeah.
And
it's not been awful.
Had he not have made that mistake in Canada, he would have won the race.
Yeah.
I doubt. That whole debate wouldn't have come about if he hadn't made the mistake that he did. Bahrain spun around, no pressure. Brazil, probably half at fault, man. That was probably 50-50, I'd say.
It shouldn't have happened anyway, and he was involved in it. It's definitely a honest copybook, that one.
C-.
Louis, you joining us on the fence?
Yeah.
All right up here, innit?
Yeah, it is very nice. I just, it's been disappointing, and honestly, I think we should have seen a lot more from Sebastian this season than we did. The unforced errors, the fact that they're now starting to become a sort of characteristic, is really bad for a four-time world champion.
Yeah.
Just like I remember when we saw it in Bahrain, it's like, wow, really? Is this still happening? And then Italy was just really, just silly, wasn't it? It was just not even.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad driving. He did the exact same thing as Stroll did a couple seconds later. And you expect that from Stroll, but not from Vettel.
No.
I think it'd be above that, but he clearly wasn't. Frustration's coming out, definitely. So, yeah. Now, Vettel's teammate, Charles Leclerc. First season Ferrari, second season overall in F1, and got 2 wins. Absolutely brilliant, I mean, the amount of podiums he got the most pole positions. He got more pole positions than Lewis Hamilton this year. That's really saying something. That kid has got unbelievable one-lap speed. And if he's good in the race, obviously, but if he gets just a little bit better in the race, gets a bit more experience, Jack, he could well be a champion very soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Debut season, and he really threw the cat amongst the pigeons there. He gave Ferrari a few things of nothing. Yeah, it's been phenomenal to see him just taking control in a team like Ferrari. No doubt helped by his Italian win. That would have undoubtedly been popular. But yeah, I mean, just not fazed by the fact that he is going against this titan of Formula One, and it just hasn't bothered him. He was a bit rough around the edges of the early season. We had that qualifying crash in Baku. We had the mistake in Germany. But whereas most drivers take a season to iron out the rough edges, by the end of this season, he's almost got it under control. That is amazing to see.
Yeah, he's got incredible pace, and he's got a very level head on his shoulders as well. I mean, I think he's 23 now, I want to say, I'd guess. He's very young anyway. It's only his second season once again. I mean, just to beat Vettel like he has, I mean, it's not that big of a gap in terms of points, Sam, but he's beaten them all ends up this year, and he's not that far off Verstappen. He was fighting with Verstappen right to the end to get that third place in the driver's standings.
Yeah, he probably should have had at least one more win in Bahrain.
Not his fault though.
When his engine cut out. Yeah, there's been a few moments where his immaturity has shown. So like the Baku crash, and then in Italy, he was sort of lucky with that Hamilton thing because he kind of forced him off the track. The steward kind of, because it was
it was very marginal.
It's a difficult
but
one.
He got away with it. Potentially the track he was at, but I'm a conspiracy theorist.
And then in Austria, you got and then that's another 50-50 one with Verstappen.
Yeah, you got Monaco as well.
Monaco was bad. Monaco was that was his worst race for sure.
Yeah.
Good move and then really bad move after that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When he just got annoyed, didn't he? He was impatient. So yeah, a very good season for his first season as Ferrari, but there's some areas which he needs to improve. He needs to be a bit more patient.
Yeah, I think in the second half of the season he did improve. And to be fair, we didn't really see anything other than the Brazil crash, which I personally blame Vettel for more than anything. I don't think it was particularly Charles' fault, really.
It was such a small contact as well. They were very.
It was unlucky, but it never should have happened. Never should have happened. Ferrari, we're not going to go on Ferrari mistakes again. We'll be here all day with that. But yeah, no. Overall, I mean, look at his results, Louis. I mean, very consistent and quite often challenging the Mercedes as well at some tracks.
Yeah. It was a shame that we hadn't seen more from Leclerc this season. You know, he's in races where he's shone. He's been by far just like the brightest star. You know, he's been absolutely incredible, and thoroughly enjoyed watching him this season. You know, his battles with Verstappen are absolutely incredible, and hopefully we get to see more of them. You know, for me, him winning in Monza was like the moment of the season. It was just so incredible to see, you know, Ferrari being able to celebrate a home victory for like the first time in a very long time. But, you know, I think we've still got more to see from Leclerc. I think it's his second season in Formula One, first season at Ferrari. You know, there's still time for him to settle in a bit more, and hopefully we'll see more from him from the second season.
Apologies for any audio you can hear in the background. You can guess who's getting changed, so I'm going to keep this very quick. Charles Leclerc, I'm going to give him an A+. I think he's been brilliant this year. Made some mistakes, obviously, but ironed them out, and very, very consistent over the whole season. Jack?
I'm going to give him a solid first season, but he just needs to sort of carry on what he did in the second season, keeping it nice and level-headed, not making those mistakes that we saw earlier on.
I'd say I wouldn't say an A star, definitely not. I'd say an A. He's also very mature when it comes to interviews, because he never really gets angry like Vettel does, which is weird to see from a young guy and compared to a 4-time world champion. So yeah, I'd say an A, definitely an A. Very good, very good.
Louis, you keeping on that A train?
Yep, I will keep on that A train. Brilliant. You know, I think you should install some leather seats in this fence. Need to get comfy. It's been a brilliant performance from Charles. Yeah, and hopefully more to come.
Definitely more to come. And the guy he'll probably be fighting for the championship with in the future is our next driver, Max Verstappen, in the Red Bull. Absolutely outshone his teammates, as you'd expect, but not the perfect season by any stretch, Jack. Definitely some mistakes in there again, but that's just Max, isn't it? He's got unbelievable pace, but he's got, a bit like Leclerc as well, some very passionate moments where he makes mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly comes down from earlier seasons, but the nature of having to lead Red Bull will do that to you. Like, that start of the season, like, just looking at it, it just took until Canada to not finish either third or fourth. Like, that's insane. Compared to what the Mercedes could do, that is incredible. There were a couple of mistakes, yes, but so few. Like, for me, he's another tough contender for the driver of the season.
I think he's a contender for me. I think he's a little bit off just those mistakes. But that being said, he got the best in the Drivers' Championship he could have hoped for. He never could have beat those Mercedes over the whole year. They were just the class of the field as usual. Yeah, I mean, Sam, where do you stand on Verstappen? I mean, he's just unbelievable talent at the end of the day, and that's what ultimately counts. Speed is what gets you results in F1.
He's definitely up there with one of the drivers of the season. First year Red Bull with Honda, they were never going to be able to fight with the title, but they've improved over the course of the year, and he's got the most out of the car which he could have done. He's had some brilliant battles this year with Charles Leclerc. Some of the highlights of the season really in Austria, British Grand Prix. How many wins has he got?
He's got
3 wins. Germany,
3
excellent.
Wins, yeah.
Austria, an excellent win, and Brazil, another excellent win. So all of his wins have been very, very impressive. I mean, all crazy races, to be honest. And let's not forget in Austria, his start was terrible in Austria.
Yeah.
Got off the line possibly, and then still came back past everyone on the way to win. I think he's had a big season. I can't wait to see what he can do next season. Second year, Red Bull, Honda.
Mad Max is definitely always entertaining, isn't he, Louis? He's a joy to watch at times.
Oh yeah, fully. He's absolutely relentless. And there is just no driver like him at the moment. He's honestly one of a kind. He's so quick. He's so relentless. He can make overtakes. He can defend well. He's just so good, And he's shown all of this since he, came into Formula One back in 2015, 16 when
he's a 17-year-old lad. Unbelievable.
It's weird to think this is next year is going into his 6th year of Formula One. He's like 23, 24 years old.
Oh my God.
It's absolutely insane. Honda give him the right engine, Red Bull give him the right chassis next year. I think he can win the title.
Yeah, of course. It'd be very difficult to beat Mercedes over the whole year. They got a gap, but towards the end of the year, that Red Bull was probably on a par with it in the last few races. But Abu Dhabi did show it up a little bit. We'll see. It'd be very interesting, that battle. It will be. And at the start of the season, it did look like it could have been Mercedes v Red Bull. Almost shaped out like that, but not quite. But yeah, no. Verstappen, I'm going to give him an A-. Maybe bordering on an A. It's just the few mistakes that have cost him a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's brought home the goods. He's got 3 wins. He's battered both of his teammates, quite frankly. And his wins as well were in unbelievable circumstances. Austria, that comeback. Germany, the relentless rain. And Brazil, all the safety cars and all the chaos. And he was just the class of the field that day. Jack?
I'm going to go A+. I think he fully deserves it. Like I say, comfortably ahead of anyone else in the title chase, excluding those Mercs. And the races that he has won have required so much management and so much skill. It's not just a case of driving away. And like you say, Austria coming back from dropping to, what was it? Was it 8th or something ridiculous after that start?
He was behind Gasly and ended up lapping him by the finish.
Yeah, so I don't see how we couldn't deserve anything other than A+.
Sam?
I think I'll say A+. Say A. He was dumb in Mexico when he spoke out against.
That was pretty.
When he said he sped up in the yellow flag, or else he probably would have won that race.
Yeah, probably. If he started from pole, he would have won it. That Red Bull was just got a real knack around that track.
The early part of the season, he was always 3rd or 4th, wasn't he?
Yeah,
very good. He couldn't have done more than that in that season. And then I think A, definitely. You can't give him any less than that.
No, he's definitely in the A range, isn't he? Louis, would you get on that as well?
Yeah, 100% A. You got to think if he got 3 wins in a Honda, which is incredible. He's really there's other races that he could have won. Hungary was just so unfortunate. Monaco, he could have just needed to make a move stick there. Yeah, just so many races where he got podiums where you really thought he shouldn't have got podiums, or really outdrove that Red Bull this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a case of driving the car as well, which is something very special. We don't see that very often in the field. Now, Valtteri Bottas, second in the championship, very comfortable second, helping Mercedes towards yet another Constructors and Drivers' Championship. It's kind of a hard one to rate, though, because, at the start of the season, Jack Bottas was looking like it was going to be a close fight with him and Hamilton. But it didn't quite end up like that. But on his day, he's been unbeatable this year.
He certainly has. There was a reason why I backed him for my championship elect. And I honestly thought he was going to do it, but Hamilton has just been imperious. And he sort of started to waver in the mid-season, and it just took too long for him to sort of get back in. It's certainly one of probably his best seasons, but he just needs to get the persistence up to keep taking it to Hamilton.
Yeah, that's the key. The key is consistency, definitely, for him. But Sam, when your teammate is Lewis Hamilton, the bar is so astronomically high. Almost even drivers like Verstappen and Leclerc would struggle to beat Hamilton over a season in the same car.
Yeah. After 2018, which Valtteri was pretty poor in. He was pretty awful that last part of 2018. Went away, had a good winter break, grew a beard.
Ate some porridge.
Yeah, Valtteri 2.0. After he won in Australia and Baku, I thought, come on, let's do this. Because he's probably one of my favorite drivers on the grid because he's a lovely guy.
Yeah, he really is.
I like to see him do well. But that little period in the middle of the season is when it just fell away. And then again, we saw in Japan and America where he just dominated the races, didn't he? He absolutely had them in the palm of his hand. So I really hope he can take the fight to Lewis more consistently next year. Yeah,
it's been a much better year for him, without a doubt. Still arguably falling some way short, though, Louis. I mean, but like I said just before, it's so hard to judge him against Hamilton because you are, it's like Barrichello against Michael Schumacher back in the day at Ferrari. Barrichello was a great driver, but Schumacher was just almost unbeatable. It's so hard to kind of guess what Bottas can do to improve himself, really.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just you'd have to take something remarkably special from Bottas to be able to beat Lewis Hamilton, and he's had his days where he's just been completely off it, and it's like, it's such a shame to see. But, you can't fault him because he is a great driver. He's won races. He's certainly done better than he did in 2018. So if he can continue this upward trend, maybe he can push Hamilton that little bit further. I mean, he's still, it still took Lewis until, the US to win the title. So it's not like Lewis had this championship done and dusted, like Japan or like Singapore. He just needs to keep pushing.
Yeah, that's the key, the consistency. I've been saying he's a hard one to rate, though.
Probably would have had a podium in Abu Dhabi if the DRS had worked.
Yeah. It was a fine drive, that, and he's ended off the season really well. I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna be nice to him. I'm gonna give him an A- just because of the standard that Hamilton has, and it's so hard to match. And he's had some very good drives. He was unbeatable in Japan and USA. Great drives in Australia. I mean, he won back the race by half a minute, I think, almost in Australia. He's had some brilliant drives, so he's fully deserving of an A- probably. Just the consistency at times lets him down. Jack, where do you stand on Bottas?
I would have given him an A if not for that consistency wobble mid-season and the fact he lost me 20 quid. So I'm going to have to go A minus.
Sam?
Yeah, A minus, I'd say. Similar kind of reasons. There was a few occasions when he could have done better, like Italy springs to mind, where he locked up when he could have maybe won the race. He was coming at Leclerc with quite a bit of pace, I seem to recall. Yeah, A minus.
Louis?
I'm really split between sort of A minus and B. I'll say B plus, not quite an A. I think there's been moments that have let him down that I don't think I can quite give him an A, but still solid effort. So I'm going to go for B plus.
Yeah, he's bordering on the B and the A kind of scale. It's hard to want to judge, but there you go. Much better year from him, without doubt. Now, of course, to end the show with the standout driver of the year in terms of wins. 11 wins out of 21. He won more races than the rest of the field combined, as he has done for the whole of the V6 era. He's something else, absolutely incredible. And, what else can we say about Hamilton, Jack? I mean, just untouchable, really, over the whole year. That first half of the season, we did say he didn't mathematically have it won by then, but realistically, he did have it won by the summer break.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. Not actually, just something I've noticed as well. Not also helped by the amount of fastest laps he's had. Just doing everything that could be done to score the maximum possible points, and being the key feature in that ridiculous 5-1-2s on the spin at the start of the season, and a fully deserving world champion yet again.
Yeah, 6-time Formula One world champion, Sam. And if he continues his form into next year, he'll probably match Schumacher's record.
Yeah. What can you say, really? He's just been...
Exactly.
You run out of superb, don't you?
He's just been head and shoulders above anyone else.
Yeah.
I'd say very likely to win it next year. Yeah, just unbelievable driver. Doesn't look like he's going to let up either. He looks hungrier than he ever has. Looks hungry even at 33, 34 now. He looks like he could be around for another 5 years, I'd say, if he wants to.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. And, all the records are in his sight. Louis is going to be probably the most successful driver in terms of statistics, wins, maybe not fastest laps, but wins, poles. He's already got poles, world championships, and this year, again, he could almost take the foot off the gas in the second half of the year. But the second half of the year, he's still got a lot of wins, still a lot of podiums. Did more than what you'd ever expect from someone, and he's still doing it.
Yeah, absolutely amazing sort of record. I said in the Abu Dhabi review that it's just inevitable that he's going to win. Most likely going to win next year. He's definitely going to break that win record. He's just like, you can love him or you loathe him, but he's a great driver at the end of the day. And it's not really much you can say apart from basically just say he's amazing, he's great, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. It's like, but this season, I think we're all expecting sort of another bout of Lewis versus Sebastian, and even though we didn't get that, he saw off his teammate throughout the entire season, which is the least you can ever expect of a driver in Formula One, and he did it in some style, and he had it won. He could have just taken it easy, but he was always on the radio. Like we did hear like a fair amount of complaining from Lewis, but it's just because that's his drive. He just wants to win. He wants to find every sort of possible tenth of a second just to make him that bit faster.
Yeah, I agree with absolutely everything you said. He's something else. He's the class of the field, and I think there's a lot of moments you can pick out as being his best. I mean, one of the ones for me that stand out, and I think I've said it before, is in France when he was leading the race by a mile, and he was saying these tires are dead, man. And he broke the lap record like 3 times in the trot or something. The guy he's got pace, he's got experience, he knows how to manage the tires. He never gives up. He's always there. If he doesn't win, he's always there. He's aside from Brazil and Germany, which exceptions really, he's always there or thereabouts. And you can't give him any. For me, you can't give him any other grade than an A-star. He can't do more than what he's done. I mean, it's nearly a 90-point gap to Bottas. You know, most of the drivers this season didn't score that many points. Jack, what would you give our world champion, 6-time Formula 1 world champion now?
I mean, you're right, aren't you? You can't give him anything else other than no star. I mean, looking at his results, what stuff results have we got? You've got Austria 5th, Mercs were just off the pace, Germany 9th. Admittedly, that was on him, that spin, and he still recovered with it. Brazil 7th when he murdered Albon. So, yeah, but like 3 out of a 21 season, that's probably by far one of the least issues drivers had in the season. So, yeah, A-star, nothing else.
Sam?
Yeah, I think that Abu Dhabi race just summed up his season. Just walked away with it. Hardly saw him for the race. Had it in the palm of his hand, didn't he? Just everything he did this year turned to gold, really. Yeah, A-star. There's not much else you can say. He's probably, in my opinion, if he wins the title next year and then wins another one, he'll be the greatest all time, in my opinion. Don't think there's any disputing it.
Yeah, I can certainly support that viewpoint.
If he goes into the rule changes, adapts to the car, and wins the title, I think he's going to be greatest all time. Yeah, this year A-star, nothing else you can say.
Louis?
Yeah, A-star.
Perfect score.
Unfortunate being the last one to say, because he's just like, you want to go out there? No, you got an F. You should have won it by 100 points. Should have had it wrapped up.
Yeah.
I don't know, by Belgium.
Didn't win every race.
He didn't win every race.
Overrated. It's all in the car.
Yeah.
No.
Stick Lance Stroll in that car, he'd win. Probably wouldn't actually.
He'd spin every lap because he wouldn't be.
He would do. He couldn't handle the grip. It's too much grip. Too much grip, man. But yeah, perfect score for Hamilton. So that's all the drivers. So we're going to say now, to end the show, who our driver of the season was. I'm going to go in reverse order. You complaining about being the last one to say, Louis. You're the first one to say now. Who's your driver of the season?
Carlos Sainz, hands down.
Sam?
Carlos Sainz.
Ooh, I didn't expect to go like this. Jack?
It's got to be Sainz. It has to be Sainz.
Wow, okay.
It has to be Sainz.
See, George, now you know how it feels.
It's not nice. I'm feeling the peer pressure. I'm gonna go with a surprisingly left field option of Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, Carlos Sainz. It's between them two for me. They've both won their formulas respectively, F1 and F1.5. You know, unbelievable. I think they were the only two that really got A-stars. So yeah, fantastic. And fantastic for you for joining us as well. Yes, we will continue this.
It was a long one.
It's been a long one, yeah. These post-season editions of the F1 Grid Talk. We'll be going through the worst to the best races next, and then that'll be it for the whole year. And we're back with pre-season testing, but obviously we'll get to cross that bridge when we come to it. Thank you so much, lads. Mammoth effort. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's brilliant.
Worries.
No problem.
Lovely way to spend the Saturday afternoon.
What else could you want to do? But yes, like I said in the first part, we are on YouTube. We're on the F1 Chronicle website. We're on Spotify. We're on Omnicast. We're on Apple Music. We're on Omni Studio. We're on them all of them. Just search up the F1 Grid Talk for us. We've got 15 to 16 episodes now, I think that is. That's a lot. So go back and see how bad Costello, see how bad our predictions are for the races. Have a laugh. But yes, thank you very much for joining us. And if this is the last show you listen to before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas and enjoy your time off over the holidays. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.